Welcome Ashtabula in Lake County. I'm here today at the Kingsville Library. So, would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mariana Branch. I'm the director here.
I'm Dani Weiser Cline. I'm the Youth Services and Outreach Coordinator.
I'm AJ Petro, and I am the Adult Services Coordinator.
Thank you so much. So we have a lot of people here today to talk to us about all different things that they're experts in too, which I'm so excited. But we're going to jump into the conversation. So for you, I would like to talk about a little bit about Kingsville Library and their vision because you've been here for quite a while. Would you like to give a little bit of background on that?
Yeah, so I'll be celebrating my 16th anniversary on June
Wonderful.
2nd.
Yay, so
yes,
close.
so it has been a while, and I have seen the library transform in so many ways over those years. We are a smaller library, but we are busier than ever, and we've seen quite a bit of growth in the past year. A lot of that is because of our wonderful coordinators here who are bringing in tons of people for programs, and then when they come in for programs, they're checking out lots of books, especially those kiddos that are coming in. So gosh, over the years, we have brought in our maker space that is just behind us with a 3D printer. We still have our computers here. We have created an outdoor education and exploration garden that kind of came out of COVID and needing more outdoor space for people to enjoy, and it's open 24 hours a day.
Wonderful. Yeah, and that's something I'm going to definitely get some pictures of that too. So I'll definitely add that to the video. But yeah, thank you so much because like you said, you're a small library, but you're a mighty one. I see these things you do. I live inland, Ashtabula, so I don't get out here as often as I would like to, but just driving out here is like a beautiful drive. So, and then you come up on this library and it's so cute and quaint, but I love it so much because there's so much that you guys have, you're actively doing here. So with you mentioned some things, how does the library kind of respond to changes needed in the Ashtabula, the Kingsville community? So when it comes to, like you mentioned COVID before happening, but when there's other changes in the Kingsville community, how do you kind of respond to that?
So that's what I think libraries do the best is we're always responding to what the community needs. And we've seen that again through the years, and especially with programming. I'll use the COVID example again. So we knew the kids had been in and out of school and they need a little extra help. So Dani worked really hard to create an after school tutoring program that was STEM based. And maybe she'll talk about that a little bit more. Collections also, we look to see what the patrons are looking for. Are they also looking for more digital items? A lot of our circulation is through ebooks, through Hoopla. So again, through the years, you just see things transform, and you just have to pay attention and listen to what the community is really asking for.
Yeah, exactly. And then with Ashtabula in general too, there may be people traveling in from outside the community. So that's like a thing where, having that information on websites and everything so you can get that out to them as well if they're just stopping by visiting the area.
And we kind of sit centrally located, so we get a lot of crossover patrons from Ashtabula and Conneaut.
Yes, 100%.
There's a lot of sharing going
on. Because like I forget sometimes how close they are with Conneaut Library. I'm like, oh, I'm already almost on my way to Conneaut right here in Kingsville. So yep, there's so much. And then with those lake people coming in and stuff too, so that's great.
And being really close to I-90.
Yes,
you'll get travelers, they need to stop and use the Wi-Fi, and so we see a lot of people coming in.
That's awesome. So can you share a recent project or achievement? You do so many of them, but one of your favorite, maybe, when you say like most proud of, sometimes it's like, I'm proud of all these things we've done here, but is there one of your favorite? We can kind of go down the line that you guys have done maybe recently.
So that is really difficult over such a long span of time, but I have two favorites. One was our education exploration garden. AJ was very instrumental in helping with that as well. It came out of our fence blowing down during a really bad storm. And then we thought, how can we transform this garden that was kind of overgrown and not really taken care of anymore into something really incredible? So the musical instruments, the mural on the back of the building, and the water table is out there. So like today, you'll see the kids are definitely playing. It's a beautiful day. And then most recently, which we haven't had our kickoff of this yet or unveiling. We have an 1850s oil painting that was done by Junius Sloan.
Oh my goodness.
And we recently received a grant, a conservation grant, to have it restored.
Oh, wow.
And the frame has been restored and the oil painting has been restored. So the first week of June, we're planning an event that we can unveil this painting.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
And it's been hanging here, but now it's just extra beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's really special because it was done by a famous oil
Yeah,
painter that came
exactly.
to school here in Kingsville
Wow,
many
that's
years
wonderful.
ago.
Yeah, that's really cool. Those are like two different things completely. So
Yes.
that's really neat that you guys can bring things like that here. And libraries like do so much of that. If people don't realize, like they can get grant money for restoration projects and
Mhm.
different things, and people don't realize that sometimes.
It's really important to preserve our history
Yes.
here, so that's part of one of our missions.
I love
the
that.
library.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And what about you, Dani?
Well, I'm proud of the increase in children and families
Mhm.
that we've seen in the library since COVID. Of course, COVID sent people home, and we had to do things differently.
Yep.
So it's really amazing to see the continued growth of youth and families coming into the library and using resources, whether it's programming or just coming in to check out books. One of my favorite things is helping kids find their next favorite book, and our circulation staff also loves that. So I'm really proud of the community that we've created around literacy and children. One thing that we do really, really well is if we have a child with a passion, we will feed that passion by putting books on hold for them. And then they come in and they get like surprise books, and they're super excited about that.
I love that. Like, their name and everything
Yes.
too. I remember
Yes.
that too. Working early in my career in libraries, it was like the best feeling ever. And then later I worked at Kent State Ashtabula, and a girl was coming there to school who I would give books to all the time. I look at her and I go, oh my goodness. Like I couldn't believe she was that, because now I'm like, it's been 10 years since I worked in a library. But it's such a great feeling. And then especially like I have small children, if somebody knew their name and held books for that, what that could just be a child's day. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what about you, AJ?
I would probably have to say our ROAR program, which is Reach Out and Read, and that has been a wonderful community connection. We work with the Maples residential facility over there, and we work with the Ashtabula County Nursing Home. And we go there once a month and visit, and we usually read like a story or an interesting little fact thing, and then we do a craft that's related to it. It's just an opportunity to get out in the community and connect with patrons that maybe don't have an opportunity to get here or don't have the means to get here. And it's just a great way to kind of all hang out together and have fun.
Yeah, I love that. See, that was like so planned. It felt like you guys would practice this because having a community, but you know what I mean, having a community one in the library, but that was fantastic because, like you said, libraries I think are hubs of the community. Like that's how I've always felt. It's not. I love books, so that's like my favorite thing, but they also have so many more resources that people just don't even, realize. Like I told someone yesterday, I think it was during the Rock Creek video, that I learned how to actually do my faxing and things at libraries, and I later went to school and people were like, I don't even know how to fax. I'm like, how do you not know how to fax? And I'm like, oh, I got those skills working at a library. So people don't realize you have all those things. So that's great. And
between our seed garden, and we have puzzles now that we're circulating, and we have the maker space with the Cricut and the laminator, and what else, there's so many different assets in the 3D printer. So there's so many fun things that you can do at the library, and of course books are number one.
Yes, that's
like,
what
they're
I
our
feel.
number
Yes,
one
they're
business,
my favorite.
but we have so much more.
Yeah, and you're always out there like a friendly face, librarian out there in the community, which is great too. So we are kind of shifting more with my questions to children's programming. So what are some of the most popular children's programs currently offered at the library?
All of them.
Yeah, that's what I figure. I mean, you guys have some really cool ones.
But I would say our most popular for our preschoolers is our Musical Mondays story time, where we make a lot of noise in the library. We turn the music up really loud.
What?
We
You're not
stomp
allowed
on
to do
the
that,
floor.
right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, right? Now libraries, you can make
This
noise.
is a no shushing library.
Good. That's
right?
what we like, right?
So that's our most popular. We have a lot of families coming in with newborns.
Oh,
I know, to our story time, and it's just so much fun. For our elementary age students, our most popular is our after school programming, which comes from Expedition Club. And we've kind of morphed that into a Monday after school elementary school program that alternates between art, science, and Lego.
Wow. Yeah, Lego.
So those are really popular. And because of our location, we're able to have walkers walk from Kingsville Elementary School down to the library for those. And then we have a large homeschool community also. So our homeschool group meets once a week, and that is going gangbusters right now. So those students are able to take part in all of our other programs as well. And then for our teens, our most popular is Teen Video Game Club,
Nice. That's nice.
where teens just come and hang out, and sometimes they play video games, and sometimes they talk about video games, and
Oh,
sometimes
they
they
talk,
just
see? So they
right?
get together
they
and have a
talk
conversation.
IRL,
Yeah, which
and
is great.
sometimes they just sit and work on homework,
Yeah.
but it's that community building.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Like you said, just having people come back into the library in those
Yes.
ways, especially teenagers, that's
Yeah.
like a big thing
Yeah.
too. If they're willing to, they kind of have a little more choice, than younger kids sometimes. So being able to be like, they're showing up, that's saying a lot,
Absolutely.
for that programming.
I also want to add, and you skipped over your
I
sewing
did.
and cooking.
Yeah.
Teen
Oh, yeah, because I
cooking
saw
and
the
teen-
cooking stuff
yes.
out there. I was
So,
wondering.
yes,
Oh, wow.
those were very popular as well.
Wow,
So.
that's
Yes,
awesome.
they're always
And what do
full.
they do directly in the cooking? Like, so how does that work here?
So for all of our cooking programs, adult and youth, it's hands-on. So they actually, I teach teens knife skills,
Oh,
how to
nice.
chop things. We cook really healthy meals with items that we can get from Walmart. So if it's something that I cannot pick up at our local grocery stores, we're not making it.
Yeah.
So we've done taco bowls, spring rolls, burgers. I've taught them how to make fries. I've taught them how to cook chicken. So it's
Which is very important. 'Cause
very
chicken's like
important.
almost every other meal in some form, but in a
Yes.
different form.
Exactly.
My husband's the big cook in the family, and I'm always like, oh, chicken again. But then it's like, oh, I like it. It's fine. Like, it's easy to
Chicken's
do.
fine.
You can do it in different ways.
But our most popular cooking one was fancy ramen.
Ooh,
And I've
see.
heard from parents that
Yeah,
their kiddos
bring that one back. I gotta come
right?
back to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Their kiddos have started eating vegetables
You're
like spinach and mushrooms and things that they would never eat before because we put them in fancy
Oh,
ramen.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that. So how do you encourage early literacy learning through some of your story time activities that you do?
Right. So we do Every Child Ready to Read. So talk, sing, read, write, play.
Yeah.
And we've also been doing a lot of trainings on the science of reading so that we can align with the curriculum that's being taught in Ohio schools
Wow,
now.
that's nice. Yeah, like really lining those things together.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear too. So are there like seasonal summer programs for kids and families, like specifically? I know a lot of the libraries, do they kind of do that together, different programs? Because I know sometimes they have a theme. Do you guys, you're involved in that?
There is
or
like
is
a
there?
national theme,
Yeah.
so we typically go with that, and then both adult and for youth have programs coming
Nice.
up for summer
Yeah.
reading.
So many programs.
So yeah, share a couple of them if you both would like to. Not every single one of them. You don't have
Just
to.
remember, summer reading is not just for kids.
Yes. See, good. Yes, that's very important.
And audiobooks count as reading.
Yes.
Right, and movies.
all the
movies.
things.
We
That's
count
what I
all of
tell
them.
people. Like, I love reading, and yes, I'm like a book snob in terms of I just like to own my own books, and I'll come to the library. I love the library, but I like to own my own books. But who cares how you read them? That's what I tell people.
Right.
If you like audiobooks, great. If you like this type of book, great. I read every single book. There's no book that people should be reading, just anything. Newspapers. Read the newspaper.
Yeah,
Magazines.
yeah.
I love magazines still,
Yeah.
and I'm sad that they're so expensive now, but it just has
But
what has
that's why
happened.
you
But I
get
love them.
from the
I know.
library.
So come to the library and get them, and then they're free.
Yeah.
So
And
then you don't have to be in your house cluttered or
Yeah.
people giving them to you. But I do love that. But I like to rip things out of magazines still. So that's the only hard part of mine. Yes, exactly. But that's the thing. Libraries have all of those items for you. Would you like to talk a little bit about the adult programming so you can tell them a
Oh,
little
I'd
more
like
about
to talk
summer?
a lot about that.
Yes, please feel free.
We have a lot of fun, and when I came on board, when I actually was coming to an interview, and I told my daughter I have an interview at the library, she goes, "You can't work at the library. You're not quiet, and you don't read." So
You're like,
my
"Oh."
goal since I have been here is to bring in everybody who's not quiet and doesn't read.
Good.
Because the library is still a place for you to be, and there's things here to do. We do craft classes every Wednesday. We have an afternoon and an evening class, and we use a lot of recycled stuff or household stuff. So again, we're not talking a lot of expense. You can grab your stuff from at home and make something cool. We do cooking classes. My afternoon class that happens once a month is focused more on small meals and kind of leftovers, things you can throw together. It's sort of targeted towards seniors, but it can be for anybody that's maybe doing just small meal preparation. We also try and incorporate things that are given away at the local produce giveaways, because a lot of people don't know, like, I have kale. What do I do with it?
Yep,
So
exactly.
we try and address a little bit of that. Our evening program is more about batch cooking and cooking in bulk and stocking up.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people that may be caught off guard when COVID hit, or when we had some of our lovely weather and we're trapped in the house for a few days, these are kind of some things that we focus on, is how can you stockpile, be prepared, even if you're getting ready for the zombie apocalypse or something.
Or if you're like having a baby or something, something like that. That's like
just
the
that whole-
only time I actually did that. Like, was put things in my freezer. Is when I was having a baby, I like stocked up, so that's good to know.
Yeah, just the plan ahead kind of thing. We were very fortunate to get grants from both the Edgewood and the ATEC Youth Philanthropy groups that help fund those and keep those going.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And we have KPL class once a month, so we have guest speakers come in. We were able, through our friends of the library, to bring in Terry Pluto for our first one. Which
I remember
That was
hearing about
amazing.
that from Bob.
Full
Yeah.
house for that. We've got some other exciting ones coming up. Master gardeners are going to talk about container gardening. We have some folks coming to talk about Bigfoot.
Oh, I got to get my daughters here. They love Bigfoot.
Yeah, so
the
that-
idea of Bigfoot.
It's going to be a very popular one. But there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
And if anybody has ever said that there's nothing to do in Ashtabula County, you haven't been
Yeah,
to one of your local
yeah,
libraries.
or reading the news, because like now that like I've worked, I realize how much they're. I mean, I knew there was things, but when it is such a big county, it's hard to cover all the things, like know what's out there. You get kind of like overwhelmed. But seeing it like in the newspaper, you're like, oh my gosh, they're doing this. This library's doing this, or this place, And I really like how you mentioned like you do maybe small batch cooking, because you don't want people to feel left out if they don't have a family. Maybe they are living alone. And they're like, but I made this cooking class isn't for me. They might think it's just with families around. So that's nice to know it's for everybody. You could do it for a person who is making a meal for themselves, like you said, not just seniors, just an individual, who doesn't have a family. So I love that you kind of tailor that, to the different groups.
We try to make everybody feel welcome. There should be something for everybody here.
Yeah.
And if there's not, then hey, let us know.
Yeah, that's what they'll take feedback. Trust me. I say, ask them and say, hey, and they'll probably add it to the program list too. So that's great. Thank you for sharing. I already kind of went over how you engage with parents and caregivers. You guys kind of went through all of that. But with adult programming, so how do you kind of decide on that when it comes to like the book clubs or events you offer for adults? How do you kind of decide on that? Because that can be hard. Do you go with themes like popular things around, or do you get feedback a lot from, the community?
So one of the fun things that we do was with every class that I have a survey.
Oh, nice.
And there's a question on there that says, what would you like to see a program about? And I always remind people, it doesn't have to, if you're in craft class, that you want to see a craft with this. It can be anything. So a lot of the things that we've come up with are, classes. In fact, that's how the food program was born, with out of a craft class that people kept saying, something with food, something with food.
Yeah.
And so we did a food class, which then, we had another food class. So we really listen to our patrons. We look at what's out there, what are people interested in, or what people might be interested in. But we really just try and cater to what we think our people have either expressed an interest in, or based on some of the things maybe they've checked out or talked about, and go with that.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Kind of the behind the scenes, part of it, because somebody might say, oh, why are there these programming? Like you said, you can speak up about it. Like, just letting them know you have a voice and, making decisions for that.
Yeah, and as far as youth, my goal is to fill the gaps.
Yes.
Because we are in we're in Ashtabula County. There are a lot of gaps. There's a lot of access issues in getting to programming of various types. And so my goal is to try to fill in those gaps for our youth and our families so that they can access all the fun things without having to pay for them.
Yes. Right. And like being worried too, maybe it's like like you said, a transportation issue or something. So you have other ways, to get to them or come to them in the community, which is
like
great.
we bus our teens from Edgewood.
Oh, nice.
So we have a really great relationship with the bus garage at Buckeye. And so they will bus teens for any after school program to us, which makes it really easy for them. And then caregivers just have to come pick them up at the end of the program.
Yeah, they're not like worried about it then. Yeah, they can have, and maybe they can carpool, together or something too, which is nice.
Space.
Yes, exactly.
In our book club, we added a book club.
Yeah, I was wondering.
So
with
our afternoon book club was very popular and full, and they're an amazing group of people. And then we had people asking for an evening book club because some people were working and they couldn't come during the day. And now that book club is also full.
Wonderful.
So it's cool. We just listen to what the community needs, and then we kind of shift and add things as we need to.
And that's what I think is nice about libraries. They can do that. You know, you can kind of like be like, oh, that maybe didn't work out at this time, or that one really did work out some, but then they kind of want something at night too, because it's not fair if people, you know, like you said, during the day can't make it, but they're interested in a night weekend thing. So I think I like that. You know, libraries can really do that type of thing.
Yeah, we're not afraid to try new things.
Yes.
Right.
I've never met one librarian person who I felt that was that way, which is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. So can you highlight, both of you, kind of maybe the upcoming ones in the next month, some of the programming? Can you kind of share some of that with our audience here?
Yeah, so for youth, registration for some of our youth summer programs is already open, so visit our website. We both have an incentivized summer reading program, so both youth and adults can earn prizes for reading and coming to programs and checking out materials and
all kinds of fun and
Yeah.
prizes.
Yes.
And prizes.
Yes.
I mean, adults love
there's
gifts
more.
too. I said, yeah.
Yes,
You
and
get a prize. You get a prize if you
Yes.
do the reading. Where you have to read and do
But you
fun
don't
things.
have to read.
You
Other
don't
fun
just
things.
have to
Okay.
read.
Check out movies.
You can check out movies.
Come to a program.
Programming, yes. So you don't just have to read. You can do all the things and read, because it's important.
And this summer, the theme is art.
Ooh, yes, I knew
Right.
they were
That's
talking about
why-
color the
Yes.
world, or
Color
yeah,
our world.
that was it. Yeah.
So we have a lot of art-based programs, but we have a new program just the week after Buckeye gets out of school called Little Librarians, where kids in grades kindergarten through 4 can come for a week kind of day camp thing where it's an hour a day, and they will learn how to be a librarian, and they will get Little Librarian certified.
Oh, my
at the end.
kids love. So my kids love to get books out and check them out all out, because I have like a crazy home library. They're just opening up. They bring them all out and check all the things. Oh my goodness, they would love that for sure. So how about with adult programs? How do you kind of support the lifelong learning and that social connection? So do you really focus on that in your adult programs? You know, like having that connection with, do people make friends in those groups? What does that look like from your opinion?
It really wasn't like we have to focus on it. It just happens.
That's what I was wondering.
We have such a great group of people, and we get new people in, and what we kind of refer to as our regulars just welcome people in, and it's just it's awesome. It's awesome to watch it happen. We had an individual that just recently started coming to our cooking class that was recently lost their spouse, and to watch that kind of connection just in the couple classes that individual has come to is just amazing. Our one of our regulars that's a couple, the first session introduced themselves, and that just broke the ice right there. And it's cool to watch. We've had people that have had significant trauma in their life, and people that they met through the class reached out to them with cards, or we called during the class just to tell them, hey, we miss them. And it's just a really neat thing to see such great people in the community coming together all in one place, and coming away even better people than they were before, because they know other people care, and it's a nice interaction, and it's a good place to be. I'm grateful every day to just come and be a part of this. I just kind of say, hey, here's a space, here's some stuff, and they do the rest. It's awesome.
That's wonderful, because like you said, a lot of times I do think people with libraries too think of children's program. Right away they're like, oh, they're gonna have a children's program, all of that. I remember going to the library all the time, and when I was in younger age. But when you get older, you do feel like there's a missed spot, and it's not even like just teens. I know they do programming, but adults, they do programming, but you always, for me in my local library, I never knew about it that much, growing up. And so having that place, because it's hard to make friends in your 30s, 40s, like you were in college for a little bit, then you kind of like those friends kind of disappear a little bit because they live other places. So meeting people through that, and you're a little nervous. So like, but a library is like an welcoming place to kind of break that.
We crafts or food is kind of a common thing. It's an easy icebreaker, to just be there doing the same thing. It kind of just creates an opportunity converse with the person next to you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
So
most people who
yeah.
move into town too, I feel like this is their first stop.
yeah, yep.
They come here because like we know everything, we're a great reference resource, right? And then they can meet new people.
Yep.
And then, you know, even when I moved into town many years ago, like this was the first place, and I met friends at Storytime, and the kids met friends, and then again the adults can come in, and we have our friends group. And that's a great way also to, you know, if someone's retired and they're just looking for something fun to do and connect with people, so come to AJ's programs or join the friends
it
group.
sounds just so much
The
fun.
book club, it's funny, in the afternoons they always do a theme with the book,
I
so
love
there's
that.
food there too, and they decorate the table.
Oh, I love that.
and
That's
it's just
fantastic.
amazing. It's a lot of fun.
I love that. But I really appreciate you guys, you know, just talking to me today, you know, taking the time because you're
Thank
very
you.
busy. You're extremely busy, as we can see here.
Well, we have library lawn sales.
Okay.
So
Yes,
big
and I know
day,
that's
big
really
day.
coming up because I've been
Yeah.
posting that a lot too.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you can think about that you want to share? You want to maybe share like the website link or social media? Are you guys active? I know like Facebook, Instagram too.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you would like to share some information.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. I just say Google Kingsville Public
I know
Library.
because it pops up instantly.
Pops up make sure it's the one in Ohio.
Ohio, yes.
Not Texas or Ontario,
Yes.
Canada.
No, it's okay. Yeah, and I think it was Kingsville because I cover Kingsville Township meetings. When I first was told I have to cover them because I just follow up with them. I don't attend them usually. That I put one, and there's another. I think Kingsville in Ohio too, or something Township. And I was like, oh no, this is not the right Kingsville. So yes, definitely Kingsville, Ohio, here in Asheville County.
Right.
So when you look for that. But really, thank you all so much. Like I said, such a busy time I know as coming with the summer programming and everything. But I really appreciate you just talking with me
for
today.
being here today.
Yeah, of course.
Come back.
I will.
Yeah.
Like I said, Bigfoot. You said Bigfoot. My kids, if I tell
Yes.
them, a little librarian. Yeah, if I tell my kids all of those things, and it's just it really is a beautiful drive coming up by the lake area. That's where I came that way. So, but yes, thank you so much again. But thank you, Asheville and Lake County. Get out to one of your libraries. There's a sale coming, so if you're in the Kingsville area, definitely, get to that sale too this weekend. But thank you again so much. See you next time. Bye.